Hello, Marky Dragon, also known as Marcus Eikenberry in real life. And this morning I had kind of an odd setup on my filming because I'm out here this morning. You can see here if you're on the other camera or this camera that I'm actually, I have two cameras up and running. And that's because I'm trying to figure out whether or not the wind noise that I'm hearing sometimes on this camera is actually interference, because I have not been able to figure that out. So I'm running two cameras, holding them near each other so that I can try and figure out whether or not it's wind or interference. If it's wind, I should pick it up on both of them. Although, who knows, maybe the interference, whatever it is, will be on both of them too. So, anyway, I'm out here this morning, sunrise, it's beautiful out here. Look at that. The birds are all waking up. And so, now I was going to have both of these on a tripod, but this one kind of decided to fall apart. So, that's not going to work too well now, is it? Okay, so let's get on to the meat of this video, which is a question here from J94-2009. And he's got a question about job etiquette. And I found this interesting because I talked a little bit about my experience at Nike the other day. And I think this is where his question stems from. He says, hey Marky, just wondering if you have any tips for me. The situation is that I seem to do more work than most people at my job and I get no recognition. Welcome to how most of us feel. Okay, but the people that do nothing but kiss ass get raises and get to do way less. I myself am above all of this, and is there a dignified way of dealing with this, do you think? I ask you because I am generally blunt and straight to the point when it comes to talking to people, and I need someone with a business mindset opinion. I have been told by some people I know that I come off like a smart ass, and that's just the way he talks. So, okay. Let me give this to you from maybe both views. The view of myself as having been a business owner and being a business owner, and myself being an employee. Well, as I mentioned in the other video, you know, I got hired on at Nike, and my buddy and I, both entrepreneurs, we both had quite a bit of experience and everything with doing, you know, the tech work that we were doing. But they paid well, and so we were there, and it was kind of like the work was a lot easier than what we were accustomed to. And they had this statistics method where they would show the stats of everybody who's taking calls, like how many hours you worked and how many calls you resolved. And that meant that really, you know, that the person who called in, this was a help desk, the person who called in got what they needed and their ticket was closed, meaning that their issue was resolved, whatever it was that they needed, whether they just had a question or whether somebody had to be sent out on site to take care of it, something like that. So we saw these stats there, and Tim and I, my buddy Tim, this one was there, we were very competitive. And so, really, not thinking about it too much, we both look at that and go, we can rock this. And we did. So we rocked it so much that, you know, we ended up at the very top of the list, and we had this list, I don't know, there's about 30 people in our department, and so there was all the names listed by, you know, the average number of calls per hour that were resolved and everything, and then there was a red line. And that red line indicated the middle. And you really wanted to be in the top half because it was just better. You know, it was work performance. It was stat-based. And so, anyway, we ended up near the top of the list almost every single time the new list came out. I don't remember if it was like weekly or daily or how often it was, but we really rocked that, and we did a great job, and we resolved a lot, and I remember it as being more of a competition between Tim and I than of course we were come in and just be superstars like we normally did on anything we did. We put 100% into it, and that comes from owning our own businesses. Everybody else there was primarily someone who had not owned their own business, and they, it was just a job to them. Well, Tim and I always treated things differently. We treated them as if it was our own company, and that's how we, wanted, things to be. So, anyway, we ended up at the top of the boards, and because of that, so you're talking about recognition here and everything. This is what reminds me of this, is that we got recognized all right, and our bosses, they recognized us. But what also happened was the rest of the team recognized us, and a few members of those team that were used to being on top were now no longer number one, and got very upset with us, to the point of threatening us, saying, "Hey, calm the heck down. This is not okay to work like this. It's not okay to show off. It's not okay to outperform everybody by leaps and bounds. You make us all look bad." And I remember that statement that he said. He's like, "You're making us look bad." And I thought to myself, just do your job and you'll look good. I mean, honestly. So, that statement to me spoke volumes, that he felt like he was entitled to be at the top of the list, and that the amount of work he was doing was just enough to maintain his position at the top of the list. And it wasn't to him about doing a good job. It was just to him about being at the top of the list. And so, you talk about people who are kissing ass to get higher pay and everything, and honestly, that is part of it. There are people who work that game, and that's the game they do well, and it's hard to compete with that. And whether or not they're doing a better job or not, it's just hard to compete with that. It honestly is. And so the fact is that you just have to rock your world and do a great job on your stuff. And so now, if your job is something where stats can be kept, so you can say, okay, hey, I've done this much work this week and everything, and you've been there for a while and it's time to ask for a raise, then when you go in and you ask for a raise, you go in and you tell them why you deserve it and everything, and bring in your stats that show that yes, you are rocking it. And who cares what everybody else is doing? Just focus on yourself. And I think you'll find that to be the best method. That's been the method that I have used. Now, yes, so there's the whole deal of that other people are are kissing ass and everything. And a smart boss will recognize that. And so, they may get some more favors because they needle them, they work them and everything. But, if that's not the kind of game you want to play, which I don't recommend it, then don't. Just don't worry about that. Just do your best. And, and if you don't get the recognition that you feel like you deserve, then while you're doing your best, keep your eyes open for another job. Go someplace where they'll appreciate you more. Not every boss will appreciate you. And in fact, I have had some sucky bosses. I mean, when I say sucky, I mean I've had some of the worst. And that's just the way it works. So, okay, now from an employer's point of view, If you walked in and you said, I'd like a raise, I'd be asking you, okay, tell me why. And why do you deserve it? And if you brought in stats showing that, how well you're doing and everything, and especially if those stats were upstat, like showing that you continually, gradually improve and do a better job as you've gone along, then I would be a lot more likely to give you that raise, especially if you can show me that stuff. Now, there's some other things that a boss or a company owner wants to see. One is greater production, which equals more money. If it's a middle manager or somebody like that, he's going to be able to show that to his boss and get a raise for himself. He'll be able to take the credit for what you do, and that's part of how that works. Now, if it's a owner, then you show them how you are making more money for them or saving money for them. Now, there's also something else along with that. Let's say that you come up with something that produces an extra $100,000 in sales that year and makes an extra $20,000 in profit. Well, and let's say you're making 10 bucks an hour. And so you do this and everything, and then they give you a raise that's $1 an hour. Something like that. And you're like, what the hell? I produced all of this for you. Well, here's the deal, is that the economy of scale on all of that is that, you'll maybe produce something that will have such a huge improvement, but the fact is that improvement doesn't go all to you. There are a lot of other things that go on in the business that fail at the same time or are not nearly as productive and everything. And so while you're looking at that one item and you're going, I really rocked that, I really made the company a lot of money, the fact is that it's not typical that all the rest of the departments are doing that or all the other areas are doing that. And so don't get discouraged or disgruntled by showing that you produced an extra $20,000 in income for them this year and you got a raise of $2,500 or something like that. You might think that it should be a lot more, and the fact is that the numbers actually are lower than what you would think it would be. And I speak from experience in this, doing this, being an employee, and then finding out what the numbers really are. And once I became a business owner, I felt differently about it because I realized, all the expense that goes to all of this stuff, and why, the scale is so far off on that. So I hope that helps. So take that with you. Just do the best that you can, and then document it so that you can show when you go in and ask for a raise that you are worth it. And you may very well find that if you just do a good job, that you don't worry about anybody else and you just really rock it yourself, that you may get recognized before it's time for a raise or anything like that. And you get offered more work, more responsibility, hopefully more money, and life will be good. So I'm Marky Dragon. Take care.